I remember looking at the Apollo 11 black box mission transcripts, and Michael Collins made an astounding statement. He's one of the actual astronauts that was on the mission, and he said, "Boy, there must not be anything more desolate than to be in one of those craters, the conical ones," and he emphasized the conical ones. And then Neil Armstrong comes on and says, "The people that live in there probably never get out." And then Michael Collins comes back and says, "You're probably right." So it shows that they actually saw something down there, and from their own perception, they believed it to be most likely a dome structure with structures underneath and potentially people or somebody living down in there.
Well, there must be nothing more desolate than to be inside some of these wall craters, conical ones.
People that live in here probably never get out.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I had the privilege of being part of the Apollo team with the Grumman that built the lunar module, and I have sat in on a lot of conversations. The fact that Edgar Mitchell and Buzz Aldrin have come forward, as well as the other astronauts have come forward and talked about craft that have followed them on their missions and things, is about as factual and accurate as you can put out, and I've never had a doubt in my mind. The biggest problem we've had has been NASA withholding those tapes and things until we've been able to unearth them, so to speak, and make them available to the world. Start hearing. Makes you stop and think what was really going on during the Apollo program.
The Apollo 11 mission had many strange incidents, to say the least. There's actually an interview with Buzz Aldrin where he's talking about seeing a UFO out of the window of the capsule on the way to the moon.
There was something out there that was close enough to be observed, and what could it be?
Now, this moon trip is approximately 3 Earth days, and this object was tagging along or following them the whole way. Now, partway through the trip, they decided, you know what, we should probably contact Mission Control and let them know that we see something out here, but we can't outrightly say we see a UFO because that may cause the mission to be aborted, as well as many other millions of people could potentially hear that recording or that transmission. So what they did was they asked Houston at Mission Control, where was the location of the S4B?
Do you have any idea where the S4B is with respect to us?
Now, the S4B is the final stage of the rocket, and it had jettisoned really about 2 days earlier. So they were really kind of sending a code, if you would, to NASA to say, hey, there's something outside of our ship, because NASA knew exactly where the S4B was, and so did the astronauts. But again, they did not want to have their mission aborted, and they did not want to alert the citizens of Earth by putting it out in a radio transmission. So a lot of incidents on the way to the moon and when they got to the moon by the Apollo 11 crew.
Do you have any idea where the S4B is with respect to us?
Now, obviously, the three of us were not going to blurt out, hey, Houston, we got something moving alongside of us, and we don't know what it is. Can you tell us what it is? We weren't about to do that because we know that those transmissions would be heard by all sorts of people, and who knows what somebody would have demanded that we turn back because of aliens or whatever the reason is.
When Buzz and Neil and Mike noticed this light craft. In fact, when Buzz made the comment that it was close enough that they could see it close to their vehicle, they knew it wasn't just some strange lights out there. And the conversation they had with Mission Control, of course, was to save the mission in their perspective by not saying, hey, there's UFOs out there and the aliens are watching us. So I think it was a very, very well phrased comments that Buzz Aldrin made. And then the other astronauts that have flown to the moon, and almost every one of them said there's been a lighted craft or something's followed them all the way to the moon. So it's about time this information has been making it out to the public.
There is no doubt we are being visited. The universe that we live in is much more wondrous, exciting, complex, and far-reaching than we were ever able to know up to this point in time. And the fact we have wondered, were we alone in the universe forever? Only in our period do we really have evidence, no, we're not alone.
I must admit, everybody that goes to space wants to see an alien. Or wants to see some evidence that there is other life in our universe, and I'm no different, but I am here to report that I saw no evidence, although deep in my heart I believe that there is good potential for other life in our universe.
Now, in regards to what the NASA Administrator Charles Baldwin coming out saying that he didn't believe in that, didn't say anything, you know, he's parroting what he was to keep his job, and he's saying what he's been programmed to say. In fact, that can guarantee you that every mission flown to the moon, when they got back, they went through a long process of debriefing and programming and knowing exactly how far they could go and what they could say. And that's why it's taken these nearly four decades for the a lot of them to come out with the truth. The only problem we have is that so many of them have passed away, and then the knowledge they have they had has been lost. That's one of the reasons why we're always telling people, you know, that you were involved, like myself. It's time to get the truth out there. So I really appreciate the fact that they were willing to mention the things that they did. A little disappointed, of course, in Baldwin that he's just parroting the same little old stories that NASA stands for. Never a straight answer.